Hi guys, sorry I couldn't be with you today. I wanted to go back and hit some high points. I added some things to the slides from last class. So I just wanted to be sure that we kind of have the overall picture here. This is actually from a Khan Academy video, but this whole chapter, the whole point of this particular chapter is like, where does this data even come from? Like the rest of the entire semester is going to be devoted to like taking the data, analyzing the data, bringing it together and putting it in graphs and things. But to start with, this chapter is just about where does the data come from. And we've talked about, you can do a sample study, you can do a simple random sample. We've talked about now an observational study in which a treatment is not applied, and then we've talked about the experiment in which you have a control group and an experimental group in which the treatment is applied. So those are the three main categories of how we can get this data. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so some things I wanted to bring to light. I know we looked at this slide last time, but we talked about random sampling as using chance. Looks like my chance is off a little bit, but to select individuals from a population to be included. Maybe a new term we didn't talk about specifically last time, but a frame. Once you have your sample, you have all your people chosen. Your frame is the list, it's the master list of all the individuals within within the population, not the sample. And so we talked about this might not be possible for every population, but in theory, if you had a smaller population, you could get every single person's information. Something I wanted to point out specifically on this slide is we didn't talk a lot about yesterday about how it's important that when you do your random sampling, that every single person has an equally likely chance of being chosen to participate in the survey or the study or the experiment or whatever it is. So we talked about convenient sampling yesterday was not the best method, and we said one of the things is sometimes that makes one person more likely to be chosen than another. In this case, the people in your statistics class are more likely to be chosen than other kids on campus at Episcopal. If you wanted to get a sample of kids at Episcopal and what they thought about having a homecoming dance with COVID going on, you would want to make sure that you had some way of randomly drawing students within the entire upper school, not just those people that were in your class. So anyway, just wanted to make sure we were good on that. I think we talked about yesterday the seed, and the frame is just the list of everybody in the population. And we did that yesterday. We talked about random allocation. Okay, fast forwarding to this slide, simple random sampling. So we did not talk about yesterday that there's, when you do that random sampling, there's a couple of different ways to do it, and we'll talk about this more when we get to probability. But you can select people out of a hat or a bag. If you put all their names in a hat or a bag, there's two different ways to do this. You could pull their name out. Oh, goodness. That's supposed to say cannot, and it's gotten scooted down. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's supposed to say can be selected again. An individual who is selected can be selected again. No, it's not. It says cannot. I'm so sorry, guys. It's an individual sampling without replacement is when you pull, let's say we're pulling names out of a hat for the upper school, and we pull out Stedman's name, and we do not put Stedman's name back in the hat, then that would be sampling without replacement. Sampling with replacement would be if I pulled Stedman's name out of the hat, but I put Stedman's name back in the hat, and he could be drawn to participate in whatever kind of experiment a second time. So just to be clear, there's two different ways to think about that. Could people participate twice or three times, or could they just participate the one time? So without replacement, they can only participate the one time. With replacement, they could participate multiple times. And this maybe has less to do with like surveying individuals and has more to do with like objects, if you wanted to study some objects or some animals. We talked about the convenience sample. I wanted to point out that a convenience sample, one of the things that's really wrong with it is it's not based on randomness. Instead, it's based on convenience, on the people that are close. And so, for example, if you stand at the mall and ask questions as people walk by, you know, or posting an online poll, you know, that's basically a self-selected survey, which is the next bullet. And we talked about yesterday, anytime you have that volunteer response, people volunteer to participate in the study, that's going to cause you some bias, some error in your study. And we talked about that's not so great. Okay, so we talked about yesterday cluster sampling, but I want you to watch this video from study.com. It's going to go into more detail. Same thing here about strata sampling. I've got a video that's going to go into more detail. There's the example that we did yesterday in class that I messed up. Now I've got it corrected. This is your example of strata sampling. There's our graphic. Here's a video I want you to watch on systematic sampling and some definitions and then the process. So what I've got here for you for the rest of the period, if you will go through and watch these videos, every time I want you to watch a video, it tells you to do it in orange, and then the link is actually this thing here, the systematic sampling. And then I've got some U-tries for you built in. I do want you to try the U-tries in this activity. This is a Pear Deck activity actually, and so you'll need to join the Pear Deck, and I'll put that code out on Haiku. The answers are on the next slide. Try not to look and peek at what the answer is. You have to click. Okay, so try to quiz yourself. This is good practice for our quiz, our quest on Wednesday. And then I've also got Math Excel number 10 for homework for Wednesday. Well, I guess we'll meet. Yeah, we don't meet again until Wednesday. So I will see you guys then. If you have any questions at all, I'm also going to post a vocab sheet on Haiku that's got a lot of the vocab from this unit on it, nice on one sheet for you. Okay, if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to email me or chat. I'll see you guys on Wednesday.